The first thing when you're using the balls, no pain, obviously. So if you get into a spot and you're like, that is really, really uncomfortable, you can come completely off the ball. You can move the ball up or down, side to side. So if there's a really tender spot, you can just move around the spot and work around the spot. I think today we're not doing any spots that tend to be super intense for most people. So that's a good thing since it's your first time doing it in this kind of setting. And the other thing I would just say is less is more. So we have this tendency to want to dig in and go deep because we want to feel something. But I think it's interesting to maybe not go as deep for some of this and just see what it feels like to have that nice, soft texture and pressure. So I'll try and remind you as we go through that, but just a little intro that I always like to do. So we'll start, we're just going to do a gentle warm up, then we'll get into using the balls, and then we'll flow a little more. So let's start on the back. I'm actually going to make my way onto my mat. And as you settle in on your back, today we're going to be kind of doing all over on the body. Some days we focus on the back side or the side, but today we're just going to hit a bunch of different spots. So it's really designed to just be a feel-good class for your whole body. So as you settle in on your back, just take a quick scan from the top of the head down to the toes. And just notice if there's anything in your body that's speaking to you. So maybe there's a sensation that pops out, or maybe you find that there's one part of your body that tends to speak to you a little more. And then just bring your focus to your breath. Start to breathe just in and out through the nose like you normally would, with that mental awareness on the breath. Just notice the texture and the quality of the breath. First thing this morning, is it fast or slow, deep or shallow? And just notice if the breath has started to become a little softer as you brought your focus to it. The breath is a nice tool as we start to work with the myofascial release balls. You can really use the exhales to just soften the area wherever the ball is. Just remember the soft quality of the breath here, and maybe you can translate that as we start to move a little bit. So just reach your arms up by your ears, give yourself a nice big stretch through fingertips and toes. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Just take a really easy rock side to side. Just notice what it feels like to have your legs in this shape. And then just come to stillness with the knees hugged in. Take your arms to a T, maybe cactus if your space is tight. And then drop your legs over to the right for a simple twist. And draw the legs up through center. Just take them over to the other side. And as you hold this twist, see if you can just start to practice using the exhale to soften the body. And then just draw your legs back through center. Keep the knees bent and drop your feet down to the mat. Just take your arms by your sides and press into the feet. Take a gentle bridge pose. Lift the hips. Maybe it's like halfway to your edge. Just make it nice and leisurely this morning. And then lower the hips down to the mat. Keep the knees bent. Just walk your feet out wide so they're at the long edges of your mat. Take your arms out to a T or cactus and just windshield wiper the knees side to side. Just nice, easy movement. And then just bring your knees to center, hug them back in towards your chest. And roll yourself off to one side just so you can make your way up to seated. So we're actually going to start today with the hands. I feel like I'm losing you guys here today. Is it freezing on you? Because it looks like it's freezing. My Wi-Fi looks good, so I guess we'll just keep going. So reach for one of your balls. I'm going to come forward so you can see better on the floor. And let's start with the right hand. You can be in a cross-legged position. I like to take one leg out just because I feel more comfortable. So you can decide what you want to do with your legs. But we're going to start with the right hand right in the center of your palm. So you'll just take the center of the palm onto the ball right out in front of you. And then just start to lean your shoulders forward so you're starting to lean some weight into that hand. And we're just going to rock in and out here. So you can keep that arm straight and use the weight of your torso to lean in and out and to get some pressure. And then we're looking for medium pressure, or maybe even lighter than medium pressure, right? Less is more. So once you find medium pressure, just stay there. I like to put my other hand on top, but you can try that and see if you like it. And then take an inhale. And then the exhale, just see if you can relax your right hand. Maybe you close your eyes really to notice what you feel. Then take another inhale. Exhale, see if you can relax the fingers. And then just take one more inhale here. And exhale. And then you can just lean the weight off the hand for a moment. We're going to move down to the space between the thumb and the pinky pad. So there's this like little indentation at the base of your palm. And we're going to do the same thing. Take that little indentation at the center of the base of the palm onto the ball. Your fingertips can rest down as you start to lean in and out. And then once you find the medium pressure, just pause there. Maybe eyes are closed again. Notice how the sensation may be different here at this part of the hand. And just take a couple breaths on your own. And then just take the weight off the ball. Now we're going to move to the thumb pad. So this thick tissue at the base of the palm closer to the thumb. So same thing, just leaning in and out a couple times. You're kind of getting the hang of it now if you've never done it. So we won't lean in and out as much as we start to progress. So find that medium pressure. Take a couple breaths, see if you can relax the fingers, the hands, maybe even the arm. And then take the weight out of that. We'll do one more spot here with this pressure and holding. So now base of the pinky, that meaty part at the base of the palm on the pinky side of the hand. Just find the medium pressure. Now you kind of have the hang of that. And take a couple breaths. And just notice how different parts of the hand probably feel different. Maybe some are tender, or maybe some feel rougher or grittier, or softer. And then take the weight off of that. We're going to stay on the same hand. Now we're going to make a smile at the base of the palm with the ball. So it's going to go like this. This is my favorite one to describe. So your fingertips are going to stay down, and then you're going to make that smile with the ball. So you're just moving the base of the palm side to side. And you can have medium pressure. For this one, I like a little bit lighter pressure just as I figure out the movement. And then I'll lean in a little firmer. And you might notice now as you move side to side the different textures from one spot to the other. And then from there, we'll do one more thing on this hand. So don't be really technical. You're just going to do a really light scribble around the entire hand. So you can just move it around in any way that feels good. And for me, this was one of my favorite ones. And you notice it's really light. So sometimes light can feel better than just digging in. I like about the hands too is it kind of helps with coordination. If this is your non-dominant hand, you might feel like it's a little awkward. I certainly feel different with my left hand. I feel like I have to think harder about it a little bit. All right, so you can just let that ball land where it is. Put the hands on the knees. Close your eyes. And just notice how the right and the left hand feel compared to one another. So maybe the right hand feels warmer, like there's more energy, or maybe it feels more connected to the rest of your arm. Or maybe it feels different in some way that I didn't describe. And then you can open your eyes. We'll do the other hand. You may want to use the other ball if you have two balls, just so you're getting equal wear between the two. And then we'll start again with the center of the base, or the center of the palm, sorry. So starting to lean in and out a couple times, just so you can get used to it on this hand. And then once you find that medium pressure, just pause, maybe close the eyes, take an inhale. Exhale, see if you can relax the palm of that hand. Take another inhale. Exhale, relax the fingers. And then take one more inhale. And exhale. And then you can move that ball to that point at the center of the base of the palm. So between the thumb and the pinky pad, right in the center. Lean in and find your medium pressure. Take a couple breaths. See if you can use the exhale just to soften. And then move that ball to the thumb pad, so base of the palm on the thumb side of the hand. Find your medium pressure and hold. Maybe even notice if this part of your left hand feels the same or different than the right. I find my dominant hand feels pretty different usually, crocheting and all those things that I like to do with that hand. And then take the weight off of that, move to the pinky pad at the base of the palm and lean into it. And then take your weight off just for a moment. Now we'll do that smile at the base of the palm. So fingertips will be down. You'll move the hands side to side so that ball is moving in that smile shape. Again, maybe you start a little lighter just to get the hang of the movement. This is your non-dominant hand. And then maybe you lean in a little more if that feels good. And then finally that light scribble. My ball just got away from me. That happens on my left hand. All around the whole hand. Maybe you notice there are certain places that feel really nice. And then you can just take that ball off to the side, place the hands on the knees again and close the eyes. And one more time, compare left and right hand, how they feel. Maybe they feel more similar now, or maybe they still feel a little different. And then you can open your eyes. We're actually going to come to the legs now. Do you guys all have a blanket or a towel? Give me a nod if you have something. Yeah, okay. So let's use that then. I think that's less intense. So we're actually going to come to kneeling here. So sitting on the heels. And if someone gives me a little wave and says that doesn't feel good, I'll give you something else to do. But we're actually going to take a very, very tiny roll, probably of the folded edge of your prop. And then you're going to sneak that roll into the crease of your knees. So it's going to look like this. I have that tiny roll right in the crease of my knees, and my roll is super tiny here because for me it feels pretty intense at this point. We're going to move the blanket a couple times. So this will be the first place where we land. And if you sit on your heels and you think, ooh, that's just a lot, I'm not super comfortable and I can't relax, you can walk your hands forward a little bit. I'm going to do that for this one because my calves are feeling tender. So that gets a little weight out of your body and it can make it a little less intense. You could even drop down to forearms if that feels good. And I know this one's a little tricky to find a place that works for you. So feel free to keep kind of moving that blanket around so you can find a place where you can land. And you could even not roll up that blanket. You could just put the fold to the knee crease so it would be a little less intense. And then wherever you land, maybe you close your eyes and take a couple breaths. So we're actually getting sort of a 2-for-1 here. So calves and hamstrings. So as we move the blanket down, you might find that you feel more sensation in one versus the other. And then most of you are down, so you can just come upright for a moment so you can move the blanket down towards your feet. So now it's probably going to come more to the meatier part of your calf. That roll will be at the meaty part of the calf. And then you can sit back down. And so for me, it's a little less intense here. So I'm okay being upright, but you can explore, again, moving the hands down or the forearms down if it's feeling like it's too intense. Remember, less is more. And maybe you close your eyes and notice what you feel right versus left calf. And maybe even right versus left hamstrings back of the thigh. And you have about 2 or 3 more breaths in this spot. And then we'll do one more spot. So you can move that roll of the blanket towards the feet one more time. So it's probably going to be right at the base of the kind of calf muscle. So maybe like halfway between the crease of the knee and the ankle. And you don't have to worry about being super perfect on these. You can find the place that feels most comfortable for you. And if it was where we just were, you can stay there. For the most part, most of these are pretty safe without having to worry. There's certain areas we want to avoid, but if that's the case, I'll let you know. So just take a couple more breaths right here. And then you can just remove that blanket, take it off to the side, come to tabletop and just tuck your toes under for a moment. Maybe hips just go back towards the heels just for a breath. And then come back up to tabletop, untuck the toes, sort of tap the feet. And then just tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into a down dog. It might feel good after that. And you can just take a little bit of movement in that down dog. Just noticing how the calves and the hamstrings feel. We didn't do a down dog beforehand, so you don't have a comparison, but you probably know how you normally feel in your down dog. And then you can drop your knees down to the mat. We're going to use a little bit of wall space here. So I hope you guys have even just enough width to put your body next to a wall. So I'm going to show you before I go over there because it'll be harder for you to see. We're going to do just one spot in the shoulder blade and we'll do one at a time. So you only need one ball. So you'll take like your left hand and reach it over your right shoulder. And actually just take it without the ball and do this with me. So take your left hand over your right shoulder and see if you can find the spine of the scapula. So it's this bony protrusion that kind of horizontal. It has a little bit of a diagonal slant to it here, about a third of the way down your shoulder blade. And we're gonna go below that. So say like the bottom 2/3 of the shoulder blade, and it's hard for me to show you, but it's gonna look something like that. So let's come over to the wall. And if I can't see you, that's okay. I'm only gonna do just one spot at the wall, so you don't have to change your camera angle. But once you're at the wall, we'll start with the ball in the left hand. Take it over the right shoulder, find that area beneath the spine of the scapula, so the bottom part of the shoulder blade. And then the tricky part here is to find the position of your feet, I think. So I like to take my feet wide just so I feel stable. And then I'm leaning on the ball with that ball at the bottom part of the shoulder blade. So you can walk the feet away from the wall to put more weight into it. If that feels like it's too much, feet can be closer to the wall. And if you like, you could kind of rock side to side. So you're moving along the lower part of the shoulder blade. And just kind of see what that feels like. Maybe you feel different textures or a spot that feels tender. Remember, we don't want anything that's too tender, but find a place where you can just land and be still, and you're leaning in with medium to light pressure. And we're just gonna hold here for several breaths. Although now that I say that, that feels really good. I feel like I could stay here for a long time. Let's take a couple more breaths. That one's selfish for me, but I'm thinking some of you might be feeling the same thing. See if you can relax on the exhale. And then you can just remove that block. We'll change sides, so, or block ball into the right hand, reach over your left shoulder so you can take that ball beneath the spine of the scapula, so bottom part of the shoulder blade. You may have to adjust your feet further or closer to the wall. This side might feel different. And then you just roll around a little bit, rolling side to side or a little bit up and down. And then find a place that you like to land that feels nice. Find that medium or light pressure, and then just be still. Maybe just focusing on letting the breath soften, noticing how that affects that area where the ball is sitting. Just a couple more breaths right here. And then you can make your way back to your mat and just come back or down to seated. Like I lost the ball trying to find it, here it is. So we're actually going to do 2 balls at once, and I'll modify this for those of you that have only 1 ball. But this one is going to be for sort of the glute region. So you'll think of your butt cheek as like a bullseye, and then the balls are going to go right in the center of the bullseye. So again, both balls at once. You'll just come to like a bridge position with the legs, lift the hips, find that bullseye. And then you can keep the legs bent or you can straighten them to see the intensity that you like. If you have just 1 ball, you can take that ball sort of to the sacrum, sort of at the center of the pelvis. Lift the hips and take that ball underneath there. So depending on the firmness or softness of that 1 ball that you have, if that doesn't feel good, you're going to remove the ball and just be in a bridge sit up with your legs. We're not going to be here for super long, so make sure you feel comfortable. If you have both balls, again, you can have legs bent like you're in bridge, or they can just be extended onto the mat. And then wherever you are, just engage your glutes. So a little squeeze of your butt cheeks. And then just soften them. So we'll take that with breath. Take an inhale, squeeze and engage. And on the exhale, just relax. And then we'll do 1 more like that, squeeze and engage. Ooh, I think I saw tennis balls just come out. And then relax. You can always place a blanket over your balls if you take them to a spot and it feels like it's too intense. So a blanket will soften it a little bit. And then just take a couple breaths in stillness with those balls right in the center of the bullseye. Actually, since we're all there, we'll explore a little bit of a change in the leg position if you want. You're welcome to stay exactly where you are if you're comfortable. If you want to try it, You can bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat like you're taking bridge pose. And then carefully cross your right ankle over your left thigh like you're setting up for thread the needle. And just pause there in that position with the right ankle crossed on the left thigh. And if that feels too intense, some days for me, I don't like that. So you can just return your legs to any position that works where you were before. And if you feel okay there, if you want to explore it, you can just gently sway your knees side to side. So a really, really subtle windshield wiper of the knees, just a couple inches side to side. Just so you're rocking over the balls, feeling that cross fibering. And then if you're swaying the knees, just pause in stillness, one more breath. And then uncross the right ankle, take the left ankle over the right thigh, and again, pause in stillness. And if you'd like that little sway side to side of the knees, start to take that movement. And then just find stillness with the knees. Take one more breath with your legs in this shape. And then unwind that ankle, just bridge set up with your legs so your knees are bent. And then press into the feet, lift the hips, remove the balls so you have nothing underneath you. And then just find a place that's comfortable for you to take a couple breaths. So maybe you're flat on the back with the legs straight out, maybe the knees are bent. And just take a couple breaths. Notice how that region that you just worked feels. And then just roll yourself off to one side so you can come up to seated. We're going to do one more brief little myofascial release technique, and then we'll get moving a little bit. So find your blanket again, and we're going to take a very little roll, just like we did before, like a tiny, tiny baby burrito roll. And then we're going to lay on it on our belly. So the roll of the blanket will be between the belly button and say the hip bone or pubic bone, so right in here. And you probably want to start smaller rather than bigger with this roll. So you can always make it bigger if you find you want that, but starting small is probably best if you're not used to it. So you can make your way onto your belly with that roll between, say, belly button and pubic bone. That's probably easiest. And again, you can adjust. So find a place that feels natural and intuitive to you. I guess as natural as it can feel to have something in your belly if you're not used to that. And if you really don't like it, you can just remove the prop and lay on your belly. So once you find that, you have a couple choices. You can stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. To me, that's a little less pressure in the belly. Or you can be more in a sphinx setup with the arms, so the forearms are flat and the elbows are under the shoulders. So you can take a moment to just explore those two arm positions, see where you'd like to be. And wherever you are, close your eyes if you're comfortable. And then just take an inhale, softly expand your belly into your prop. And on the exhale, just soften the belly. Inhale, just gentle expansion, so don't force it too much. And exhale, relax. Another really intentional breath. Inhale, expand. And exhale, soften. And then just take a couple more breaths on your own without that really purposeful expansion of the belly. It's going to happen naturally, but without forcing anything. Notice as you stay here, does it feel a little more comfortable? Are you able to let your belly relax? I know for me, this has taken a while to get comfortable with this just because I'm not used to things touching my stomach, right? But now it's something I enjoy. I find it to be calming, just that little gentle massage of the belly. And then you can remove your prop, just take it to the side. You can lay on your belly if that's comfortable, or you could come to seated for a moment and just take a couple breaths just to notice what that area feels like. Does it feel softer, warmer, more relaxed? And then when you're ready, make your way up to tabletop. And just take some cat-cow here in tabletop at your own pace. So inhaling, dropping the belly, exhaling, rounding. You can add any movement here that feels good. Then find your way into child's pose. Take a couple breaths in child's pose. And make your way up through tabletop, back into down dog. You have a couple breaths in down dog just to find a little bit more movement. And then walk your feet forward to your hands, forward fold at the top of the mat. Take an inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, just go straight to downward facing dog. Just notice how the shoulders feel, maybe that area around the shoulder blade where you worked, the lower part of the belly, that bullseye of your butt cheek, and then hamstrings and calves. And then walk your feet forward to your hands, forward fold top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, you can go to down dog or step to plank. If you're in plank, take an inhale there. Exhale, drop your knees lower to your belly. Inhale, lift head and shoulders for cobra. And exhale, lower down, press through tabletop, downward facing dog. Just nice, smooth breath. And then walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, sit back for chair. Exhale, fold forward, straighten your legs. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, go straight to down dog. Inhale your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale the foot by the right thumb, spin your left heel down. Inhale, warrior one, arms up by the ears. Exhale, hands frame the foot straight to down dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, foot by the left thumb, back heel down. Inhale, warrior one, arms up. Exhale, hands frame the foot. You can go to down dog or step to plank. Take an inhale there. And exhale, lower to your belly. Inhale for cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. You can always just skip those planks and just stay in your down dog if you'd like. A couple more breaths. And then walk your feet forward to your hands, forward fold top of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sit back for chair. And exhale, come to standing, straighten the legs, stand, hands to the heart. Words aren't coming out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. And your way back to downward facing dog. We'll meet in down dog. And then once you're in down dog, take your right leg up and back. Bring the foot between the hands, spin the back heel down, and come to warrior two. Cartwheel your arms up to a T. We're just gonna hold some of these standing poses today. Not super long, but just enough where you can settle in and feel like you can relax there. And then straighten your right leg, start to reach forward and hinge into triangle pose. So maybe that right hand comes to a block, maybe it comes to the shin. And then press into both feet, come back to your warrior two. Curl your hands down to frame your right foot for a lunge. And then walk your hands to the left, all the way to the back of the mat. So you're framing your left foot for a lunge, facing the back of your mat. You got it. Drop your right knee down to the mat, so you're in a low lunge, facing the back of the mat. Just take a couple breaths. And then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, lengthen your chest towards the back of the mat, plant your right hand down and twist your torso to the left. Reach your left arm up so you're in a twist. You got it. And then bring your left hand down to frame your foot. Walk your hands to the right, so make your way all the way back to the front of your mat. Frame your right foot for a lunge. And just step straight back, downward facing dog. Just one breath in down dog. And then take your left leg up and back. Bring the foot between the hands, spin the back heel down, warrior two. And just let the shoulders be soft. Maybe even try and soften the face. Maybe that means you give yourself a little smile just to see what that does. And then straighten your left leg, start to reach forward, hinge into triangle pose. And then come back up to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to frame your front foot. Walk your hands to the right all the way to the back of the mat. Frame your right foot for a lunge and drop your left knee down to the mat. So you're in a low lunge facing the back of the mat. And then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, lengthen your chest towards the back of the mat. Plant your left palm and twist your torso to the right. Reach your right arm up for your twist. And then bring your right hand down to the mat. Walk your hands to the left all the way to the front of the mat. Frame your front foot for a lunge. You have time for a vinyasa, or you can step straight to down dog. Your choice how you want to get back to down dog. And then take your right leg up and back again. Bring the foot between the hands, spin the back heel down, cartwheel your arms up to warrior two. And then extend the side angle, right forearm to thigh, left arm by the ear. You can keep that left arm by the ear, or you can take it behind the back and just let it softly drape behind your back. Maybe your gaze is at the right foot. I think that gives a nice stretch in the left side of my neck anyway. And just take a couple breaths. And then take your left arm back by your ear just for a moment. Come back up to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to frame the right foot. And then walk your hands to the left again, all the way to the back of the mat. So you're framing your left foot for a lunge. And then come up to crescent. So reach your arms up by your ears. So you're in crescent facing the back of your mat. You can stay here in crescent if you want to come into a prayer twist. Bring your hands to your heart, twist your torso to the left, and take your upper right arm to your outer left thigh. Good. If you're in the twist, come back to crescent to reach your arms up by your ears. Bring your hands down to frame your left foot. Walk your hands to the right, all the way to the front of the mat. And just step yourself straight back to downward facing dog. 2 breaths there. And then take the left leg up and back. Bring the foot between the hands, spin the back heel down. Cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. I almost knocked myself over there. And then extended side angle, left forearm to thigh, right arm by the ear. Then again, you can stay there, or maybe you drape that right arm just softly behind the back, and you could take your gaze towards the left foot if that feels good. And then take your right arm back by your ear for a moment. Come back up to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot for a lunge, and then walk your hands to the right, all the way to the back of the mat, and come up into crescent, arms by the ears. So you're in crescent facing the back of the mat. And then you can stay there or come into the twist, hands to the heart, twist the torso to the right, upper left arm to outer right thigh. And then come back to crescent, reach your arms up by your ears. Bring the hands down to frame the foot. Walk the hands to the left, all the way to the front of the mat, and then your way back to down dog, vinyasa or skip it. Then you have about 5 breaths. So maybe you're in down dog, maybe you're in child's pose or table, your choice. Find a place that feels supportive for you and how you're feeling today in this moment. You know, every day we show up feeling different. If you're in child's pose, you're welcome to stay there and meet us when you're ready, or make your way back to down dog. And then walk your hands and your feet towards each other, forward fold at the center of your mat. Take an inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. And then put weight into the left foot as you hug your right knee in towards your chest. So you have some choices here. You can stay with the hands at the heart. You can support the back of the thigh or the shin. And you have a couple breaths just right here. And then you're welcome to stay where you are, or you can hinge into warrior three. So maybe hands come to the heart, tilt the torso forward, take that right leg back. Give just a couple breaths. And then lift the torso, hug that right knee back in, lower the foot down to the mat, lower the arms, just give yourself like a little shake where you just don't think about anything and just let everything wiggle. And then bring your hands back to your hearts. Weight into the right foot, hug the left knee in. Remember, you have some time here to just get settled, so maybe you're supporting the leg with the hands. Once you find the shape with your body, can you focus on your breath? And then if you want, warrior three, maybe hands come to heart as you tilt forward, taking your left leg back. And then come back upright, lift the torso, hug the knee in. And then lower everything down, shake it out. I'm all over the place this morning. And then come to mountain pose right where you are, center of the mat. Just close your eyes and feel both feet connected to the mat. Take an inhale through the nose and a soft exhale out the mouth. On your next inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale your way to down dog, last vinyasa opportunity. And then drop your knees to the mat so you're in table. Walk your hands back to your knees so you can come up to kneeling. We're gonna take a really gentle camel pose. So palms of the hands to the low back, fingertips spinning down. You can just draw the shoulder blades and elbows just gently back towards each other. And then on an inhale, take a gentle lift of the center of the chest. On the exhale, just a gentle lean back for just a soft camel. So nothing forceful, nothing strained. And then just come back upright. Take your hands to the mat. Come to tabletop and just find neutral in your tabletop. Take an inhale there. And an exhale. And then inhale, just a really gentle drop of the belly for cow pose. And an exhale, gentle curl of the spine for cow. And inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. And then just come to neutral, bring your big toes together, sit back into child's pose. Maybe the arms stay by the ears, or maybe they come back towards the legs. If the arms are back by the legs, just reach them out in front of you. Make your way up to tabletop and just take your hips over to the side so you can come back to seated. So we'll do one more sort of myofascial release technique with just a block. So you'll have the block on your medium setting, and then your head is gonna rest on the block. I find for this one, sometimes people just have a hard time figuring out where the block should go. So this long edge that's closest to me is gonna be right below the base of my skull. So you can use your fingers here just to kind of figure out where that is. So once you lay back, you know, so you can feel for the skull and then go below it. And I find like hairline is a pretty good point of reference for where the edge of the block is gonna go. So you can just watch me for a second, or see if you're already there, that's cool too. You're gonna lean back and find that long edge of the block that's closest to you. You want it to be on the soft tissue, so the muscles right below the base of the skull. You want to find a place where your head can be heavy and where your neck can be off the block so that it feels like it's canopying down towards the mat. You can play around with the positions since I can't really see you very well. As always, if you're uncomfortable, remove the block and just lay flat. If you're on the block, just take some breaths here in stillness. I find in this one, for me, kind of like the belly, it takes me a little bit of time to relax because I'm so used to my neck holding up my head that I'm like, oh, I can relax this thing. So you're welcome to stay still here if that feels nice. If you want to explore a little bit of movement, you're going to gently take a nod of your head, yes. So the nose will lift a little bit and then it will tuck a little bit. And I find for me, this is almost hard to even see, the movement is so small. So you can just take that nod of the head, yes. Whatever pace feels nice. And then just come back to stillness. And if you'd like to explore a little nod of the head no, you can start to tilt the nose over to the right. And then bring it through center and over to the left. Just taking it side to side. No rush. Kind of like we did on the hand, noticing the changes in texture as you rock. Maybe you feel thicker bands of muscle at certain points. Maybe you feel knots, which I sometimes do, like places of tension. And then just find stillness again with the head. Take an inhale. And exhale, just soften. Take one more inhale. And exhale. And then just carefully remove your prop and lay flat. If you typically like a little blanket under your head as a pillow, you can do that to support your head. And just allow yourself to relax and feel the spine and the neck in this neutral positions in their natural curves. Excuse me, and then hug your knees in towards your chest. And cross your right thigh over your left thigh, like you'd be sitting in a chair. So the thighs are crossed right over left. Hands can be behind the thighs and just hug them towards the chest, or maybe reach for outer edges of the feet or the ankles. And then just keep your legs in that shape. Take your arms to a T. Drop the left foot to the mat so you can shift your hips a little to the right. Once you've done that, drop your knees to the left so you're in a twist with your thighs crossed. And if you don't like that, uncross, right leg will stack on the left leg. That simple twist we took at the beginning. And then unwind the twist, unwind the legs, and just hug your knees towards your chest. Pause with both knees hugged in. Just notice how right and left sides feel. And then take your left thigh, cross it over your right thigh. Hands behind the thighs or maybe to outer edges of the feet. And take your arms to a T, drop the right foot to the mat. Shift the hips a little to the left and drop the knees to the right. You can uncross that if it feels good. And bring the knees back up to center. Unwind the legs and hug the knees in towards the chest. You can stay right here or extend the legs straight up to the ceiling like you're taking legs up the wall. So ankles are over knees, over hips. And if that feels like a lot of effort, just hug the knees back in. Maybe about a minute here. Just make sure you find a choice or a place that works for you. And then if your legs are straight, just re-bend them, hug them towards the chest, maybe holding there or coming into happy baby. Gentle rock side to side. And then if you're in happy baby, hug your knees back towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then find your way into Shavasana. So you have props. You can put a blanket under your head or across your belly. Start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your ankles and wrists. Reach your arms by your ears, big stretch. And then roll off to one side. Pause there with your eyes closed. I think this quote is a good reminder for all of us. It says, "No one is judging you as harshly as you judge yourself." Press into your top hand, make your way up to a comfortable seat, eyes closed, hands at the heart. Maybe as you move through your day or your week, if you find that voice in your head being a critic, if you recognize it, maybe you change the way you talk to yourself. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.